around a lot. But for 2 weeks, the entire Army was here. There were a few units that were actually in Philadelphia, and I tell the story about some troops from Georgia were down in Philadelphia camp, and they were trashing the place. They were drunk, they were disorderly, they were stealing from the houses. It got so bad that they were writing, the citizens were writing letters to Washington here saying, please do something, get these people out of the city. So he actually had them moved up back to this area so they can keep an eye on them. We represent different types of soldiers. I'm with the 5th Pennsylvania, which is a light infantry unit, and you can tell the difference in the uniform that everyone sees a Continental soldier with the tricorn hat and the long coat. Light infantry was something that Washington wanted to borrow from the British, and they were troops that were taken, they were the best troops taken from all the regiments, put together during the summertime, which was normally the campaign season, and they were usually the most self-sufficient, the best guys, the strongest guys, ones that could actually live on their own without too much of their equipment with them, because they were light infantry. They were sent far ahead of the Army. They would delay the British to allow the main Army to come up, and we're so used to seeing the regular soldiers shoulder to shoulder and moving in big blocks. Well, the light infantry didn't always do that. They would be in open order, and it's almost like the special forces of the 18th century. And you also have Donegal's Rifle Company, which is set up behind you. And back in early Revolutionary War, the riflemen actually acted in a light infantry manner also. It was their job to run up and delay the British or just harass them to get them to move. Because 18th century warfare was like a chess game. You had 1,000 soldiers lined up and 1,000 soldiers lined up, and you tried to outmaneuver your opponent off the field. It wasn't that you were going to be killing everyone on the field. It's just at some point outmaneuvering where you're trapped or you're in a bad spot. And for the most part, the Americans would just break ranks and run. They didn't really stand up to the British for a long time. So you'll notice some of the differences in the uniforms. The light infantry uniform, they realized that running through woods and being out in the briars for any length of time really tore up a wool coat. And the mark of a light infantryman would be a shorter coat. Instead of a coat down to here, shorter coat, leather helmet or a felt helmet to kind of emulate the British light infantry. In fact, late in the war, Lafayette brought over from France a lot of the leather helmets. He gave the sergeants special swords. He was very proud to be giving command of the light infantry unit. They also carry a tomahawk with them as a camp tool. Everybody thinks that they usually associate a tomahawk with the Native Americans, but it actually was a British French and Indian War camp tool. And they were handed out to the British allies, and that's how it got associated with Native Americans, but it actually started out just as a regular British military tool. And because the light infantry doesn't carry, this is an unusual circumstance. If you have a set camp where you're here for a long period of time, you'd have all the niceties of a normal camp life, but for the most part, a light infantry officer or soldier would take everything with him. His bedroll, his camp tools, his equipment, his haversack.